Most of us think that testing only begins when it comes to the execution of test cases, which is generally after the code has been written and been sent for testing as testing levels or dynamic testing. But it's very important for all of us to understand and know that as we already now know about static testing, the testing does not wait for even the design to be prepared. That means testing activities can actually begin much earlier in the life cycle, that is right from the very first draft of requirement is available in the life cycle. And that's how early testing actually begins and starts contributing to the quality of the product. Hello friends and greetings for the day. Welcome back to another episode of Testing in a Nutshell. This is Neeraj Kumar Singh and today we are talking about test analysis, which is one of the important and very first phase. Soon after the test planning is done, we actually begin our testing lifecycle with test analysis, where test analysis is very important in terms of identifying and analyzing the test basis. Test basis is the most important term which you need to understand, that what exactly these things are and what can be called as a test basis. Any such document or any such reference, it can be requirement, it can be design, it can be a document like use case, or even if you talk about code. Any such thing which a testing team refers for testing or considers as a reference for testing is what can be called as test basis. Now, in test analysis, the testing team gets involved with reviewing or analyzing the test basis, which is just to make sure that any test basis which testing team is going to refer to prepare test cases or on which the testing relies on must not have any kind of defects, which may lead to a lot of confusion, lot of misunderstanding, and lot of unexpected, unwanted defects in our life cycle, which in turn would require a lot of rework and definitely consume a lot of time and money of your budget. So that's where we start analyzing or reviewing the test basis, where generally we look forward for any kind of misunderstanding, inconsistencies, omissions, contradictions, or in terms of like a clarity issue that you do not have a clear picture of what exactly you have to do or what is it written there. Even if you talk about anything which is missing in terms of incomplete is what we try to find out and report to the author. We'll be talking more about what exactly a review process is and how exactly this process happens in upcoming videos. But today we are just trying to understand what exactly test analysis is and what are the major activities which can take place. So the very first activity is to identify or analyze the test basis. Following that, as you analyze, parallelly you can also identify the test conditions which will be helpful for you to determine the test cases. Sometimes the test conditions may directly be executed, so you may not have to drill them down into concrete test cases. Again team, test cases, I'll have a separate video to explain you how the test cases are written. Now when you identify test condition, at the same time as you list them down, you can also start prioritizing them in the order which it is supposed to be addressed or executed. A lot of factors are there which helps you to determine the prioritization of test conditions and test cases as well. For example, when you talk about product characteristics, project characteristics, including the kind of technology you're working with, or the most important thing is risk. If you have performed a risk analysis for your project, then of course this will help you to identify the key areas, and based on that you can define the risk level, and in turn you will be further prioritizing your test conditions to give them a right sequence of execution. Now that's another thing which happens as a part of test analysis. Additionally, we also identify what features of the requirements or what feature of the user stories or epics will be tested in this particular cycle. Now when you talk about a traditional approach like V-model, waterfall and all, then we determine what set of requirements will be covered in this particular release. And when it comes to agile, we say in a particular sprint, what all tasks will you consider. Not all the tasks of a particular user stories is considered in the same sprint. So sometimes we may have a future expectation or some relevant information required to complete that. Thus, you may not invite a particular story or particular task at the same iteration. So yes, you also determine what requirement, what features will be a part of it. Additionally, you do identify what requirements or what features are testable and what are not. Now, when you say testable or untestable, it generally means that something may not be testable in terms of environment or such factors which can only be tested during the production or real-time environment. So you will determine those things as a part of analysis as well. Also, to add to this, you will define what environment will be required, because as you are analyzing the requirements, understanding what is that you need to validate, you can also determine what environment will be helpful for you to conduct your test cases. So generally, designing or probably defining the environment which will be used for testing can be defined here. So putting it all together, test analysis is all about analyzing the test bases, reviewing them, finding any kind of typical defects, reporting to the author to make sure that what kind of issues do we have, so that defects can be identified earlier in the life cycle and resolved. And thus it in turn saves a lot of time and money. Other way around, it also increases the testing and development productivity. So that was all we have got for you under test analysis. I'll be getting back to you with another interesting video. Hope you enjoyed this video and definitely had really good takeaways from this particular episode. So till then, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep understanding the context team. I'll be getting back to you shortly with another video. Till then, take care and thanks for watching the video team, and happy learning.